Hello, everybody. It's Heather Nichols here. And I wanted to jam a little bit today about this idea, which to me is a very powerful tool, a very, very powerful awareness to have, that our point of view creates our reality. That is something we talk a lot about in Access Consciousness. And it really kind of speaks to the fact that however we're looking at something is basically how it's going to show up. And this can be kind of a confronting way of looking at things because we don't want to know that we have that much power to shape the events of our lives, to shape our future. And when you recognize that you do, and that your point of view does create your reality, the good news is you can actually choose the point of view or the perspective that you would like to have to create the reality that you would like to have. So one of the analogies I use a lot is if I'm sitting here and I'm looking, this direction, I see the camera and I see all the things around and the rest of my house and that wall over there. And, that's the point of view that I see. Like everything that I can see in my vision right now is what I can see. And that's my current sort of like scenario. If there's mountains up there. If I was on top of the mountain and I was looking out over the city of Boulder, I would have a completely different point of view. And it might even be, it would just be different. Everything about it would be different. And someone up there, I'm sure there's somebody up there right now who has no idea that this exists, this scene in my house right now. And it sounds simplistic, but it's really interesting if we take that and we extrapolate that to how we see our lives, how we see our bodies, how we see our businesses, how we see our relationships. It's like, what mountaintop are you standing on? What vantage point do you have? What perspective do you have? And you could actually turn around and see something completely different. And so if you're standing on the mountaintop and you're looking, at Boulder, you will see, because I've been up there, you'll see the city of Boulder and you'll see flat plains forever and ever and ever because the Rocky Mountains end right here. But if you turned around on the same mountaintop and you looked west, you would see mountains as far as the eye could see, or, however high you are would depend, but you'd see some mountains at least. So you can look east from here and see flat plains. You can look west from here and see mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains. That's a very different perspective. That's a very different point of view. So let's take that and look at business. If you have the point of view, business is hard, I have to work for it, I have to struggle in order to get ahead, I have to compete, all these lies of business, really, quite honestly, then that's the vantage point that you have. Everything that you see, everything that you choose, everything that you receive or don't receive will be determined by that vantage point, tainted by it in a lot of ways. If you have the perspective of all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, business actually can be easy. It can be fun. It's enjoyable. The more fun I'm having, the more money I make, the more successful my business is, things like that, then that will be what shows up. Same thing with our bodies. If you have the perspective of my body is aging, I'm going to get old, I'm getting old, I'm, whatever it may be, or like I'm, incapable, or I'm sick, or my body can't do this, that, and the other thing, then that's your body will actually create itself to show up like that. If you have the point of view, my body gets greater every day. That's my point of view, is that my body gets greater every day. And I have amazing tools to facilitate that. And that's been my reality with my body. A lot of it I do feel like I reverse age in a lot of ways, because I can undo all kinds of things every day because I have that perspective, that point of view. And so it's just something to really, even if this isn't the first time you've heard this, it's like, take a look at this and start to see what is what shows up for you around all of this, and how much do you like, what points of view do you have that you didn't even realize that you have, that are creating the reality that you say you don't want, but your points of view keep perpetuating it, because what's going to show up is going to be a reflection of your points of view. How does that show up with your body? How does that show up with your relationships, your business, your money flows, all of those things? And changing your point of view isn't necessarily, this is where you want to dig deeper and use some more tools, because changing your point of view isn't just pretending like you have a new point of view. I mean, a lot of people that do, kind of more like affirmation-y type stuff and, manifestation thing, different types of manifestation conversations. It's more kind of like, well, just take a different point of view. But people sort of like pretend that, it's like, well, I'm going to stand here looking at the plains, and I'm going to pretend like I'm looking at the mountains. I'm going to be like, yeah, I see the mountains. We lie to ourselves. And so you can't change your point of view by just deciding that you have a new one, proclaiming it, end of story. Sometimes the power of choice is that powerful, and yet it's really helpful to start to look at, okay, what are the points of view that we have? Like, what are the points of view that you have? And about any area of life, and how, like, are they even yours? So that's a great question to ask from Access Consciousness. Is it yours? Who does it belong to? Maybe the points of view that you have are the points of view that your parents had about different things. So look at, is it even yours? Does that even belong to you? If it doesn't, let it not be yours. Acknowledge, okay, I'm aware of so-and-so's points of view, but they're not mine. And then go into the question of, what are my points of view? What is my perspective? Because the point of view isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something that can be chosen. It's something that can limit you. It's something that you can choose to have a different point of view that doesn't limit you. So you have to look at your choice. And one of the ways you can do that is by reverse engineering and looking at, well, what's the reality that I would like to have? Okay, well, if I would like to have ease with my body, ease with money flows, ease with business, whatever that is, or like a greater future for all on planet Earth. Okay, so what point of view, what perspective would I have to have? What awareness maybe I have that I haven't acknowledged that would allow me to truly live and embody that perspective on things so that it really can show up. And when things show up in your life that are an indication of you having a different point of view, a different perspective, acknowledge that. Because when you acknowledge it, it grows, it becomes more substantial, it becomes greater. And then we can have just so much more play with everything. And ultimately, as you play with this more and more, and there's so many tools in Access Consciousness that give you way more choice with your points of view so that you can choose that which is going to actualize and create the reality that you would like to have. So, there's a million resources in Access. There's lots of videos. There's all of my videos. There's Dane Here's videos. There's my podcast. There's classes. There's the foundation class, which is an amazing class that I would so highly recommend. That really gives you some very foundational tools to change your points of view and have more choice in regards to all of that. So let stuff go and clear stuff really dynamically and quickly. But as you start to use those tools, you start to get you start to strengthen the muscle of being able to choose something different, choose a different reality. And as you do, things just, it's like that becomes more of your way of being and your way of living and your way of choosing. And you become more aware and you start to see your life show up as a reflection of all of those perspectives that you've chosen to create the future that you would like to have. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.